I hope you all can. It's a mind-blowing proposition that we have choice. So, I come across the things that I think, wow, I don't have choice in that. Yes, I do. Yes, I do. How am I going to get my mind wrapped around the fact that I can choose to feel loving, I can choose to feel peaceful, I can choose to have ease no matter what's going on around me. It's where the rubber hits the road. I was talking to Nadine and Kevin this morning, and I said, that's exactly where, was I talking to you? I don't know, maybe somebody else. But that's where the rubber hits the road, right? Oh, I was talking to you. When I said we have to apply it. We can know all this stuff in our head, but it really comes down to it. When we're in a situation and we go, what about that icky thing? I still have choice. If we can apply this teaching to everything, okay, it doesn't mean we have choice. Like everything that happened to us in the past is not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about this moment and that moment going forward. I'm not talking about changing what happened, because that happened. I can choose the way I look at it, I can choose the way I view it, or I can choose to do something differently, new, now. Are you with me on all that? All right? Some of you are looking at me like, oh, yeah, it's a big thing. It is a big thing, but we have absolute choice of those experiences and the way we perceive things. On the very first chapter of Ernest Holmes' Science of Mind textbook, he says, to suppose that God can make a human as an individual without leaving us to discover ourselves would be to suppose an impossibility. And individuality must be spontaneous. He says, the divine plan is one of freedom. Bondage is not God ordained. I have to read that over and over and over and over again. Because so many of us were taught a different view of God. That God is going to God made this icky thing happen to me. Or God was punishing me. Or God somehow restricted me. That's not the God that we believe in here. Freedom is the birthright of every living soul. All instinctively feel this. The truth points to freedom under law. Thus, the inherent nature of humanity is forever seeking to express itself in terms of freedom. He also says this quote, if humankind is endowed with the attributes of self-choice and free will, we must be allowed to make this great discovery for ourselves. And there it is. We must be allowed to make this great discovery for ourselves. So even if we say, well, I don't have choice, you know what? You're making the discovery that you're going to see it when you believe it. Because if you believe that you don't have choice, you don't have choice. If you believe that you do have choice, you do have choice. You see, so it comes right back to the song. So we want to start with that premise of that we do have choice. It doesn't mean it's always going to be easy, but we have the choice to discover it for ourselves. And sometimes as we discover it for ourselves, we're going to run into something that feels like, Ernest Holmes likes to use the word bondage. It's such an old word, but restriction. We're going to run into what feels like suffering. We're going to run into challenges of life. That's all right. We're discovering it for ourselves along the way. And as we discover, and as we do this kind of a philosophy year after year after year, we realize, yeah, I can change. I can change my perspective. I can change my attitude. I can change my good or bad perspective, the way I'm looking at something. I can change my life experiences. And the longer you practice it, the more you realize that that is true. It doesn't mean I get to change other people. I hate that part. But it does mean, don't you? That's what I mean, but we want to control the things out there. We want to choose to change you. We don't get to do that. Yeah, come on, say it like it is. Don't you hate that part? That's when it feels like we don't have a choice, because we want to change somebody else. I can change my attitude, I can change my perspective, and so can you. And the fact that we can also means we've been given the ability to do so. And it starts with our ability to believe that we can. So, come up with your own examples of maybe there's a place in your life where you know that a change of perspective or a change of belief would do you good. Matter of fact, just close your eyes for a minute and just kind of ponder it for a moment in the silence. Is there an area of my life that I would like to change my perspective or my experience? still with your eyes closed, as those areas of your life come to your mind, if you can see it, then do so. Imagine yourself living in that new change. You changed your perspective, or you changed your experience, you changed your heart in some way. See yourself acting that way, living that way. And then deep inside of you, if you will just know that if you can see that, it means you have the ability to change that. You have the ability to be that. Keep seeing it, or feeling it, or knowing it. And then just silently say to yourself, if I believe it, I can achieve it. Just inside your mind. If I believe it, I can achieve it. And then open your eyes. So you've all heard that before, and it's a very real quote. If you can believe it, if you can see it, you can achieve it. The key then is to stay focused on that belief. To stay focused on that which you've seen on the inside and keep our attention. If you're like me, what happens is I have this moment of high resolve, and I'm going to believe this new thing. And I'm going to move towards this new thing. And then 3 days later, I find myself going back to the default pattern. The default pattern is strong in us. It doesn't mean that we failed. It means that we believe again. I believe I have freedom to choose. I have freedom to move into this new thing. Okay? Get back to that moment of high resolve. Let me get back into that, what I want to see. 3 days later, I find myself back into the default pattern. That's just kind of the way it works. Until we hold steadfast to the belief, to the new perspective, to the new life experience long enough until we start to feel or see it shift. And we notice that we're not going back there to the default pattern so much. That's the moment of gratitude. It's the moment of new awareness. This is working. I am changing my mind. I am believing it differently. I am seeing it differently. Make sure you notice the changes that you're making. Make sure you notice that you didn't slip into the default pattern so much. And give yourself a great big hug, because you did now move forward. Based on what? Belief. Based on your belief. Based on your freedom to believe it. And based on the fact that we live in this thing called spiritual law that is done unto us as we believe. And so you brought up Jesus saying now the whole thing about joy. Jesus was also the one who taught that. It's done unto us as we believe. So the more we believe it, the more we move ourselves toward it. When you fall back to the default pattern, I always say, please don't get mad at yourself, because that is just a normal progression. Every single one of us falls back to the default pattern, especially if we've been living it for a long, long time. And then we go again. Here's my new perspective. Here's my new way of living. Here's my new lifestyle. And we'll slip back. That's fine. You just keep moving forward. To help you move forward, we have not only Sunday services, we have classes, we have practitioners who will pray with you and know a higher truth for you, believe something for you. So I want to say this too, because the thing about not changing other people, also this phrase, we have the freedom of choice but not of consequence. So if your mind is coming up with all those yeah buts, like for instance, people say to me, well, I am not free to not work. Yeah, sure you are. You are free to not work, but there may be a consequence. You are free to end a relationship. You absolutely are. There may be a consequence. So to me, freedom must mean every possibility. If there's anything in me that says, oh, I'm not free to do that, it just took away all freedom, you see? It's got to include everything. So whatever the yeah buts that your mind comes up with, there's the place to stop and go, huh, is that true? You have freedom of choice, not necessarily a consequence. So that's when our human rationale comes in and weighs up consequences. But you still have freedom of choice. That big, mighty truth is already our truth. And that's where I want to leave us. Our soul, our essence, our spirit is already